This is Just AMZN for Friday, March 27th, 2020. Take a look at the 5-minute. I'm zoomed out a bit, and I just want to draw this just to draw attention to it. But I'm kind of seeing this sort of thing. That was bad. I should have been practicing my drawing. Come on. Where's the sketch? It's okay. Let me try this again. Draw. There we go. Okay, kind of seeing that sort of thing. I keep bumping something, sorry. And I can't do both at the same time. That's not working. It keeps exiting out of the drawing tool. Sorry about that. I don't know why, but not tonight. Exit out one more time, and if not, I mean, you can see the triangle, right? It's a big triangle. The question is, what are we going to do here? So higher lows, lower highs. We're getting into, I mean, we've been in this zone, just consolidating here, occasionally poking up, not getting through, and then we've somehow found some support coming down in here at our pivots. Now, we didn't pull as far down in here, which is interesting. From talking through a couple candles over here, someone anticipating a bigger gap down, because one of these was a hammer and then it didn't gap down. But anyway, that's what I'm seeing. It's easier to see it on, I mean, on a 5 zoomed out, you can. It's easier to see with after hours and pre-market turned on with the extended hours on. If I go to an hourly, what's really interesting in this area, and we'll go back to the 5-minute, just hang with me. Okay, an hourly, nope, it was half hour. Come on, back down to the half hour. There we go, okay. Over here, we had the same sort of thing happening. Consolidation, so we had the lines come in like this, showing that we had a bit of a triangle forming. And I mean, even this was a bigger one, like this. And we ultimately broke down, retested, and went lower. Now we're in the same price area right now. Right now. We don't have, a long ways to fall just to get to this point. We're actually on the way back up, so it seems, and we're at this point. The question is, are we about to go lower, or are we about to go higher? And I can't answer that. I wish I could. I've noticed Amazon holding up remarkably well, where it has not fallen nearly as far as some other things have fallen. I mean, we're really sitting at about a 50% retracement from the high to the low. And I didn't do the math, but we're really right in the middle of a 50% retracement already. And it seems a little bit too far, too good to be true. So, my gut's kind of favoring down, but I've been wrong a lot on this. I did not expect this to recover as well as it did, to get all the way back up almost to 2,000 pre-market. So, what it did here, where it pulled way back and tumbled further than this, what ended up being like a midway point. I feel like the range that we did here is very similar to the recovery here, where we overshot and now we're, consolidating back down, just like we overshot, we consolidated, and then we continued, but you can clearly see a retracement here of that point and lower. So with whatever we do, if we break out or if we break down, I think we'll still get a retracement, like something in here. Or if we break out, a retracement, something in here. So I think we'll revisit 1925 if we do end up breaking out and come back to retest and then go higher. Or if we break down, I think we'll come back up to about 1900 and then go lower. So I think we'll have time to respond to, really understand, okay, what's actually going on. So don't pile in necessarily if we gap way down and feel like you're missing out. Wait for the retracement and then get in on the retracement. Get in bearish on the retracement. That's what I'm seeing, this kind of bigger picture. I'm finally seeing triangles on Amazon again, which they've not been very clean lately. But seeing this same zone that we're in again, we just don't have the the automatic ones being drawn on here, like what's going on back here. We've had plenty more of these. If we go back, you could see that we had a lot of these on our way up, even some of these really weird ones, which this isn't a real triangle. I mean, don't draw that kind of triangle. Draw ones that are a little more drawn out. Amazon usually does. But it broke out. It did retest. Didn't come all the way back to this level, but it did retest, did that S curve, and then continue that up. So you had time. You had time to react. So, just look back at triangles, look back at the pivots that we've gotten into and out of, and wait for retracement. All right. So that's bigger picture. That's kind of, where are we at? We did some interesting things on Friday. Very much at the beginning of the day and the end of the day. That was it. The middle of the day was boring. We went sideways, completely sideways. Excuse me. We came up to 1925. We actually right before the market opened, ran up, opened up here, came back down, and didn't touch 1925 again until this little thing in the last 45 minutes to an hour of the day. And all the while, on its own today, was making yet again another triangle. Now, it didn't really start to clearly form as a triangle until you got past midday, where you didn't come down here to the 1900 zone like we did yesterday. So this hammer was actually kind of the same place that we were holding support today. At open, it didn't get down there, and then midday, it didn't get down here. But you had some higher lows and kind of a relative or slightly lower high. It looked like it was breaking down, retesting, and then didn't roll over. And so when it didn't roll over, it's like, well, what's going on here now? We have another little sort of stair step, a little bit longer than a stair step. Now we broke out. And, you can continue to draw this as lower highs then this is a flat bottom, but then it's still just not clean. If instead you kind of say, okay, well, when did it really start forming some of this? It was making some higher lows here and then relative highs all day. And somehow you just got to discount that it did that. This was kind of a bearish fake out, a bear trap, because it didn't even get back down this far again. So you had a bit of a triangle started here, and that didn't work out. And it really turned into just waiting, a lot more waiting. And I said that Thursday, if we did end up gapping down, wait a bit. I thought wait half an hour. Well, instead, it was just choppy all day, and it was really wait till the last hour. So, I lost some on some trades early in the day thinking, okay, it's moving, and it wasn't. But this was a bull trap. So we had a bear trap earlier. We had a bull trap here. And the bull trap, a lot of bulls were seeing this as a breakout, getting in on the breakout. Nope, can't do it. Don't get in on the breakout. And then we very much immediately formed an evening star reversal here and broke down. It's even better. Oh man, it's even better on the 3 minute. Let me show you in the 3 minute. Oh, and notice where we got up to on the high, still lower than the open high. If we dive into the 3 minute here, this is just really cool to see. Whoa, that didn't look right. There we go. Okay. Look at this. Look at this evening star reversal. So good. So not only does this evening star reversal totally reverse and take out the open candle, it gets below 1925. If I can get the drawing tool back up, I can point to things, but it's really going slow right now. Okay. Evening star reversal, those three candles. All right. 1, 2, 3. The third candle takes out the low of the opening bullish candle, gets below the high wave candle here, closes below 1925, which is the level that we have been holding below all day, except for this. And then the very next candle retests into 1925 and then continues lower. This was an incredibly great bull trap. And the bears won on this one. I mean, they just tore up anybody who bought all day long. Everybody was losing by the end of the day there. Just crazy to see it roll over like that. We've had that happen on some Fridays. We've also had some bullish moves on Fridays. This was a really good bearish move. Even though it was down here, it was coming right into 1900. I'm like, oh, it's going to bounce. It's going to give us that last 1 minute, rally. Didn't happen. Definitely didn't happen. And so, it just played out incredibly well bearish. So again, that's the 3 minute. Usually we're focusing on the 5 minute. But looking at these movements in here today, we've been bouncing between 1925 and 1900, all week. To see it happen, even, I mean, it didn't really happen today. It stayed right below it most of the day, got up above it, and then came right back down to it. So it did it once, from really here to here, or here to here. Did it once today. And when we closed, the close here is right at 1900, 1899.92. Looking at 1925 calls, they put in a really nice base around like $6. But it wasn't going bullish off of a pivot. And so it was really hard to feel comfortable taking some of these trades because they didn't have a strong place to bounce against. So if you bought at the base here at like 6 by 5, you probably got stopped out here just for it to go on up and move, getting in at 6, move into 8, or, it looks like it touched 8 or 8.10 here. It was just really sideways. And then towards the end of the day, you had another opportunity to get in 6 by 5, and that ran up. And I'm sure some folks were holding this, looking for this to really just go up to the open. Didn't do nearly as much as that. It just barely got up to the earlier pivot here, and just quickly with an upper wick, probably on that evening star reversal, just that quick run up and then collapse. So if you didn't have an order sitting out here at 14, you didn't get filled, and you may not have been filled for just a quick flash up there. Probably you did get filled. Going the other direction, looking at the 1900 puts, these had a really, really nice base, actually. Probably because we played off of 1925 so well, just playing right below it. I mean, we were right below it until this candle at 210. So right in here, we put in a base really right above 5. You could have been doing this like 550 by 450, 550 by 450, 550 by 450, 550 by 450. And this time it didn't work. Each other time, you actually still made it up to 750, to get your 2R. Each other time, the first one was, this was tremendous to go all the way up here. Now, not to say you were in on the open one, but if you had gotten in, 550 by 450 here and let it run up to this high, then you're at 950. So that's 4R. And then you do this one and it's not working too well. It probably won't get up to 950. Let me try for 850. It doesn't get to 850. So then you try for 750, but that's where you should have had it. So you really should just get out at 650 and just scalp an R. So you're probably up 4R from this one and 1R from this one here. And then you try again here and it's like, stopped out. So you get that R back. So you're probably up like 4R if you just traded that 2 times or 3 times after the open one showed you where it was basing. But after that, it just collapsed. The 1900 put just collapsed. The only thing it had going for it was right into that close. The price of it just dropped tremendously. This would have been great, kind of rollover, absolute zero play. Probably could have gotten into 2 of these for $1. So done, 50 cents by 0. So you get into 2 and just let it ride. And as it moves into 1900 in the last couple of minutes here, you may have taken profits on one of them here because it has been holding that kind of a relative low all day. So that could have been getting out at like 3 or 4. If you're in at 50 and you're out at 3 on one of them, great. Or get out at both at 3. Great. Good target. If for whatever reason you held and you tried to get up to 455, something like that, even the last 5 minutes, it just didn't have that big of a push here. So, it ended up closing in the money, which is crazy. But the option really it exploded in this last, was this 30 minutes? Yeah, last 30 minutes here. That was the 1900 put. You probably could have done a little better with like 1925. The other thing that's interesting, and I think I I looked a little bit Thursday. I didn't go back to check. But the strikes weren't all there like they normally are. So I don't know why. So like was it 1860? It was every 10. I think there was 1855, and everything below that was regular strikes. But then it went from 1855 to 1860, 1870, 1880, 1890, 1900, 1910, 1920, and then it picked up back again with every 2.5. And it was just really strange to see it. It's like, excuse me. It's like if we go bearish, there's not very many strikes to play with, you know? So I'm clicking around too much. So you can see this is much lighter, much lighter on the volume here. This would have been tougher to do with AMZN. I mean, you can't do it with AMZN. It came down to a low of 3. It was still showing a lot of value here. But I mean, this option basically got $25 into the money. Should have been at 25 right at the close. I don't know why it wasn't actually there. Or it's rare somebody was actually selling it. But so I'm still looking at Fridays. I can do a 1910, but I can't do a 1915. It's going to say can't find the symbol. 1912.50, can't find the symbol. They just didn't exist. 1910. So we can look at this one. This one got under a buck and then closed about 10 in the money. So this would have been probably the best way to do this is get in 1 by 0 and just hold on to the last 5 minutes and get out at like 10, which is always tough to do, holding on to the last minute. But I didn't play that. Obviously, hindsight is helping. But yeah, it was kind of strange not having all those options available. If we look at the coming week, let's see if we have any strange. Yes, they did it again. It's just like this. This is every 5 now. I don't know why they're doing this. I don't know why the market makers are doing this. So up here at 1920, it starts every 250 again. And then, 1855, it's every 5. But so there's strikes every $5 for this week's expiration. I don't know what that means. I don't know if market makers aren't doing. I don't know why. I haven't figured it out yet. And so it's just really strange that the options are trading a little differently than what I've seen. You get the same kind of thing happening. This is every 10, up at 2010 through 2130. Again, I don't know why. You got more of it up here. So I don't know if it's because it's weeklies and there's not as many strikes. You can see it's a bigger impact down here. When I first found it, I think it was Thursday, because I tried punching in the 1875 for the March 27th expiration, and it didn't come up. I'm like, what? That's weird. So I clicked over to the options chain, the option chain to see, why it wasn't coming up. I'm like, did I type it wrong? I'm looking at it. It's like, oh, 1875 is not here. That's strange. So that's when I first noticed it was like Wednesday or Thursday, trying to look at that one. Just typing it, because I just usually type it. So anyway, we've got this going on again this week, and probably next week as well. Yeah, next week as well, the same area. So just keep that in mind with where we're at and looking at, okay, and so monthly expiration, you got every 5 again. Just keep that in mind, knowing where we're at, knowing that for this week in particular, options below where we're at are a little lighter, so I don't know if they're trying to consolidate volume into these, $5 strikes, and then volume above, they're good with doing anything. I don't know what this means. Or for people doing credit spreads or debit spreads, that they're not giving them as much of a range or the tightest range. I don't know what the implications are of this yet, but I haven't paid so much attention to it. I haven't scrolled through the options chain to figure out what's going on here. I just usually type it in on the chart and I'm good to go. So again, just keep it in mind that where we're at right now, we have strikes below us here in this next range that are every 5 instead of every 2.5. Now, I'm not usually trading a 2.5 strike anyway. I just want to be aware that there's something different below rather than above. There's a lot more strikes above. There's a few, half as many down to 1855 below. I just thought it's strange. So I just want to point out that it's something I don't know what that means yet. I thought maybe that would mean we're going to go higher on Friday. When I noticed it, like Thursday, it's like, oh, well, there's plenty more strikes to go bullish then. Well, no, it just went sideways and ultimately went lower. So I don't know if it's any indication of anything. Just pointed it out. We can look back and say, oh, and then that, possibly in another week or two. But anyway, here we sit. I showed you the triangle on the 5 minute, on the 30 minute. It's really clean to see. We had a triangle in this area. We have a triangle right now. It doesn't look like a triangle at all right now, though. It looks like a stair step. There's 4 candles here that really look like a stair step, being held up by the 21, being held down by this uptrend channel. And it really, there's a couple different bigger patterns going on. This could look like a shoulder, a head, and possibly another shoulder or a flatter shoulder. I thought back when we were down here, I thought we would consolidate here a lot more. Seems like we're doing that consolidation here. So just the next area up in the next channel, we're consolidating right under this line instead of right under this line. I thought we would consolidate here, partly because we did so much consolidating there before, that price range. Well, no, we decided to consolidate here, which is actually slightly higher than where we consolidated here. So that's why I pointed out that on the 30 minute, you can see a triangle again in this area. This one went down. We'll see if this one goes down too. This could be a shoulder. This could be a head, then another shoulder. And that would be a pretty clean inverted head and shoulder. Inverted head and shoulders. Will that happen? I don't know. This is shaping up to be a really nice neckline. If you draw it like that, if you draw it like this, if you draw it like this, this is some sort of, a neckline zone. So all that to say, obviously I don't know which way we're going. We had a really nice clean inside day. If we get another inside day, then that means back down here on the 30 minute, which I know I'm about to show the 5 minute, but back down here, that could mean that we've got just another day of sideways coming in. And then maybe Tuesday will be a bigger day. I think we're going to go in one direction or the other pretty soon. I think it'll be this week. I just don't know which direction. And that's okay, because we know how to play a bullish with calls. We know how to play a bearish with puts, even though there's fewer puts because of the strikes. But we'll also look for retracements, and we'll look for some of these pivots to hold. If we can get it back up into 1925 and then roll over, it'd be a great place to set a stop at like 1950 or 1945, something a little ways away. Give it a little bit of room, but looking for it to hold this pivot. We've done a really good job of staying in this 1925 1900 zone, poking through a few times. So if we can stay in that zone again Monday, I think that's a really good setup for something bigger to come on later. And, obviously don't be afraid to be looking to trade this area some more. Like this was a evening star reversal. It showed you the pattern and it played out really well. You just got to wait for that pattern to show up at a pivot. And obviously, if somebody is looking bullish, thinking, okay, it's going to break out, wait for the retest, and then they got in on this candle thinking it was going to hold, well, then immediately you're stopped out and you're wrong, which is fine, because then you can just reverse and be like, okay, that didn't work. I need to be going bearish instead. And you can still catch, a move from here to here, even though you missed from here to here to begin with. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on how things are moving or how sideways they're continuing this week. And we'll see if some triangle shapes start to break out. Hope this helps. This is Just AMZN. Thanks.